Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Board Game Edition. This week I'll be covering a fast-paced set collecting game that was on Kickstarter until October 20th, 2015, called Roadkill Rivals. Now, before I start anything, I want to say I do not condone the running over of animals. In fact, I recommend you avoid them if at all possible. That being said, in this game, the players collect points by running over animals with different vehicles, but both the car and the animal get destroyed. So maybe the animal gets its revenge. Maybe. So let us start with the rules. The setup for this game is extremely simple. First, shuffle all the cards together in a pile into the deck. Then flip 4 cards face up in a line. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 cards are called the freeway. These are the cards that players can draw on their turn. On the far side of the deck, you need to have an area for the discard pile, and it starts out empty. Also, each player needs an area in front of them, which is called their lane, or it's the area where they keep all the vehicles and the animals they have drawn, as well as they need a little bit of an area for a face-down scoring pile. But, like the discard pile, these also start out empty. And that's the complete setup. Now, there are 3 types of cards in Roadkill Rivals. There are animals, denoted by these purple cards. There are vehicle cards, denoted by these pink cards in the print and play. And there are roadside cards that are denoted by the teal cards here in this print and play. Now, you'll notice each animal and each vehicle has a big number in the left corner, and that is the power of the animal or the vehicle. Also, some of the animals and vehicles have small numbers in the bottom left corner, and these are the number of victory points that card is worth if it's in your scoring pile at the end of the game. Some of these also have some animals and vehicles also have abilities. Like, the weakest vehicles and the weakest animals have the ability to take it plus 1 extra turn. So when you draw them, you take an additional turn immediately following the turn the card is drawn. Cards can be chained together, take multiple turns in a row this way. The larger cars and the larger animals have abilities to kill or wreck smaller vehicles and animals. But I'll cover this more when we go into the actions. Roadside cards, for the most part, are one-time use cards that when drawn have an effect, and then they are placed in the discard pile. The only exception to this are the police cards, which are put into your lane, and they are kept until they are used or discarded. A player's turn consists of taking one and only one of 4 actions. The first action is to draw a card from the freeway. For this, the player chooses 1 card in the freeway, and if it's an animal or a vehicle, they take the card and put it into their lane. If it's a roadside card, they take it, they perform the action, and then they put it into the discard pile. Once they have done this, they take the top card of the deck and replace the missing card. Now, what has to be noted is that each player may only have 3 keys worth of cards in their lane. So if drawing a card would bring them above this limit, they must discard enough cards to make room for the card they just drew before they add a new card to their lane. So, for example, this player here has a coyote that is worth 1 key, and this player has a big rig that is worth 2 keys. So if they wanted to draw a card and put it into their lane, they would have to discard one of these 2 cards first to do so. If the card they drew did not give them an extra turn, the next player begins their going around clockwise begins their turn. The second action is to create roadkill to score points. To do this action, a player must have a vehicle or vehicles that are equal to or higher than the animal or animals they wish to run over. For example, 1 vehicle can run over 1 animal with the same or lower power. So the RV has a power of 5, the possum has a power of 3. That would create roadkill. Another example is the Jeep, which is a power of 4, can run over 2 animals, the possum and the skunk, because their combined power is also 4. The last example is that you can have multiple vehicles, 2 vehicles, running over 1 animal, because, as you see here, the motorbikes each have a power of 2, which gives them a combined power of 4, which equals that of the Coyote, which has 4. On the other hand, the car, which has a power of 3, cannot run over the Coyote by itself because it has a lower power. Once all the cards to be used are chosen, they are collected and placed face down into the scoring pile next to that player's lane. Then play proceeds to the next player. The third and fourth actions are extremely similar. The third action is Wreck, which can only be performed if a player controls a vehicle with the ability. So here, this player controls the Big Rig, which says can wreck a smaller vehicle. So to use this ability, you say, I'm going to wreck, and then you choose an opponent's vehicle that has a lower power. So here, the Big Rig has a power of 6, their opponent's Jeep has a power of 4. This second player, the player on the right, says, I'm going to wreck your Jeep. The first player then takes the Jeep and puts it into the discard pile, meaning they can't score points with it. The fourth action is Attack. It works for animals in the same way. You need an animal that can kill a weaker animal, and then you choose one of your opponent's animals, and you kill it, they put it in the discard pile, also not scoring it. The game ends when the last card of the deck is put into the freeway. The game ends immediately, and all the cards in the freeway are placed into the discard pile. Then each player takes all the cards in their lane and takes them and puts them face down into their scoring piles. At that point, players count up their points, and the person with the most points wins. In case of a tie, the player who has the most cards in their scoring pile wins. And that's it. Well, that's all for the rules. I hope to see you in my preview review video, as well as the playthrough. But if not, please remember to share, like, and subscribe. And as always, remember to stay geeky.